Hey friend, Graham here from therecordingrevolution.com. Hope you're having a great day. Got a tutorial for you today. I'm on the road. I'm in a hotel. I'm in Anaheim, California for the NAMM show. Always a great opportunity to meet really amazing people and learn from people who are smarter than me. But I had a few moments. I wanted to show you something that I'm doing in every single mix. I've been doing this for years, and I'm releasing my new EP here next week. And so I've been playing with these tracks in Reason because that's what I recorded and mixed on this time. And this little trick is so simple, and I don't know why more people don't do it, but this will give you more pop, more punch, and more glue in your mixes if those words mean anything to you. So it won't make a bad mix good, like no tip I show you will make a bad mix good, but all these little tips, all these little thoughts, when collected together, can make a big difference. And this is one of those things. So the idea here is to use compression on your whole mix. It's called mix bus compression. You use compression where you want to reduce dynamic range. Let's say a vocal that's all over the place, you want to rein it in so it's nice and consistent and upfront. You can use it also to make things pop. So a lot of times I'll use compression actually to make things stick out of the mix more, which is a little interesting. In essence, what I'm doing, and people have been doing for years, is putting a nice compressor on your master fader or your mix bus and using it to gently squeeze your entire mix just a little bit, and then make up that gain if need be, so that you can make things like kick drum, snare drum, and bass and everything pop more in your mix. This is very simple, very subtle, but you'll hear it. So here's the song I'm working on, and in Reason they've modeled an entire SSL console, which is cool that the whole DAW is set up that way. Everything from the input all the way through the compressor, gate, and EQs, all of this is modeled after an SSL, I think 9000. But they also included the master bus compressor, which is one of my absolute favorite things. So I use one of these in Pro Tools. But any compressor will do. Let me show you first what the difference it makes. Take a listen to the mix without any mix bus compression. Then I'm going to click the on button, engage it, and you can hear, literally hear the difference that this simple mix bus move makes to the mix. And we'll just discuss my settings and show you how you can replicate this in any DAW. So here we go. No compression.
A man who wandered the earth, calling out for all the bruised and broken hearts, saying,
Right? Kick drum gets punchier, snare drum has a little bit more life, the bass kind of glues together nicely with the rest of the song. It has a little bit more energy. It feels like maybe it's getting louder, but really it's not much louder at all, if any. It's just bringing up more energy in the entire mix. So without, like, you notice it when you take it away, the mix starts to get a little flatter. Okay, so you can have a good mix that's EQ'd well, compressed well, balanced well, and it sounds nice. Okay, but most of the time we want to mix that hits us, and a simple bout of mix bus compression can take a relatively good but flat mix and give it a little bit more energy and life. Take a look at my settings here. All this is some simple moves. First of all, notice it's a pretty low ratio, 2:1. I sometimes do 4:1 on the SSL, but 2 or 4:1. But even then, if you followed any of my compression tutorials, you know that ratio doesn't really matter by itself. It's how the ratio is set up compared to the threshold and the attack that makes a difference. So I start with a 2:1 ratio, and then what I do is I set a slow attack. And if you've ever tried mix bus compression and it's gotten you into trouble and you feel like it made your mix worse and it actually took the life out of your mix, the problem wasn't the mix bus compression, the problem was your settings. You probably had a faster attack or medium attack, because that means it's going to clamp down on your transients too quick. So what you want is a slow attack. I recommend 10 milliseconds or slower. And then usually you want a pretty fast release. This is actually slower release than I normally do. It seemed to work for this song because you want the compressor to let off the gas quickly so that the next transients can come through. So the key is light ratio, slow attack. That's the big key. And then what you do is you dial in, like any other compressor, you dial in the threshold and you look at the meter that gives you the gain reduction, because what we want to do ideally is get 1 to 2 dB of gain reduction when the kicks and the snares are hitting. Any more than that, you're getting a little dangerous. Any less than that, you may not hear it. 1 to 2 dB when the kicks and the snares are hitting. So let's take a look at the meter. Yeah, it's 1 to 2 right there. That's what, and you look at that meter while you're dialing in the threshold. I have no idea what the threshold should be set at. It doesn't matter. It's going to be different for every single song. You just dial the threshold up or down and watch the meter, and that's where you know to leave the threshold. And then the final piece is you want to use the makeup gain. Okay, ideally this is set to 0 to start, but if your compressor makes things quieter once you start compressing, then you'll want to turn up the makeup gain. So my compressor is squeezing this mix by 1 to 2 dB, so it's reducing the output volume by 1 to 2 dB on those big hits. So I'm using a makeup gain and I'm turning everything up by 1.6 dB. I did that by ear. I turned it back up so that when I engage the compressor on and off, the overall volume is about the same. Now the energy will be louder and more engaging with the compressor on, because in essence we're bringing up the quieter parts while taming the loud parts, if that makes any sense. So you don't want to use this to make your mix louder, you just want to use it to bring out more punch in the mix. So light ratio, slow attack, watch the gain reduction meter when you set the threshold, look for 1 to 2 dB of gain reduction, and this is the difference. Again, we'll go on and off. Very simple, very subtle, but it brings out that pop, especially in the drums, the kick drum and the bass, and squeezes in that bottom end. So that might be a little thing you can try in your mix. If you haven't already used mix bus compression, I highly recommend it. No matter what DAW you're in, grab your standard compressor. Grab any compressor and play with it, experiment with it. If you have a couple compressors, try different ones and see which ones sound better on your mix. You don't need the SSL. It's a very stylistic type of compressor. Any compressor will do. The idea again is to not use a fast attack, because you don't want to kill your mix. You just want to help it out a little bit. Give it a shot. Let me know how it's working in your mixes. If you have any thoughts, comments, or questions about mix bus compression, leave them over on the site at the actual recordingrevolution.com site. I'll be more apt to see them there. Have a great weekend. See you after the NAMM show.